up in DC right now. So make sure to ask her lots of questions about that, as well as all of the things that you'll see while on tour. So, all right, take it away.
We can start with our first stop at the fair, so you guys can go. Anyone ever stay off me today? Everyone from Maryland?
Maryland, yeah.
My name is Kayla, like she said.
Didn't they say
I'm a
last
freshman right
song?
now. I'm double majoring in biochemistry and Spanish, and I'm also on the pre-dental track. So if any of you guys are interested in the College of Arts and Humanities, or the College of like CMNS, the College of the Sciences, or on the pre-health track, I'm happy to answer any of those questions about it. We have lots of great advising here as well. Outside of being a tour guide, some things I'm involved with is I'm the president of my RHA council, so we just basically plan events for our building, which is really fun and something really great that I'm glad I got involved with. I'm also part of Spanish Club and a few pre-dental societies, which are some awesome things that I've loved getting involved with here. So starting with our first stop is McKeldin Mall, which is right in front of us right now. McKeldin Mall is actually the largest collegiate mall in America. And on a bright and sunny day, unlike a day like today, during classes, a lot of students like to study, put out picnics, like set up picnics, put out blankets. It's a really great area. Some of my favorite activities that we've done here at the mall is the First Look Fair. So if any of you guys have gone to, or if any of you guys are Maryland alumni, we have the First Look Fair where basically our 400 plus organizations and clubs will line all of these sidewalks with tents and booths to try to recruit students. This happens at the beginning of every single school year. It was really awesome, and I know for me personally, I walked through and I joined like 9 or 10 different group me's of random clubs that I wasn't really sure if I would like or not. And then after just like seeing how they interact in a group me, I left like 7 of them. But it was just a really great way to get involved really early in the year. And I think it's something awesome that we have here as freshmen. And then another one of our fun events is Maryland Day, which is obviously going on right now. We definitely take advantage or use our like large area that we have here well and have events like this. And McKeldin Mall is actually our geographical center of campus. So we like to call everything on this side of the mall North Campus and everything on this side of the mall South Campus. So it's not 2 separate campuses. Students flow freely between the two. I have friends that live on South Campus as freshmen, even though I live on North Campus. But where you have classes is mostly going to depend upon your major or like what you're studying. So we have like the business school, the art school, the architecture, all of that is on South Campus. And then a lot of our things like computer science, biology, you can see the biology, psychology building. A lot of chemistry and natural sciences are on North Campus. But yeah, it kind of just depends what you're going to be studying. So that's a little bit about McKeldin Mall. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer them. I know it's a lot.
And on either end of the mall, you said the library on this end, and what's on the other end?
I think there's an administrative building on the other end. I've never been in that one, but I know that it's there.
I think we used to schedule for classes somewhere over here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in the business something.
I think right now, like, we do all of our scheduling.
Yeah, online, right?
but
Yeah, we used to have to line up and schedule classes over there. Yeah.
So where you decide where to live, the dorms for freshmen, is so what happens with undecided majors?
Where you live, like, they won't do that based on your major or anything. That's just where your classes will be. But where you live is mostly dependent on programs you accept. Like, we have special programs that are in certain areas. Like, some of the honors residence halls are in different like areas. And then if you're not in one of the living learning programs, it's pretty much random, like which resident hall you're going to end up in. But we'll talk a lot more about like residence life later on in the tour. Okay,
All right, great.
To our next stop.
So this is south.
So we're going to this side? I thought this was north.
Yeah, that's north and that's south, right? So your side is in the south side. Brandon's over there.
We're gonna go there?
Yeah, we're gonna go all around the school.
Are you guys like going on and show up?
So right now we're in front of ESJ, Edward St. John Learning and Teaching Center. And this is one of our newest buildings on campus. It was constructed in 2017, but they designed it in the front to look just like the rest of the building, so it fits in with the buildings along the mall. But inside of this building, we have a lot of really great things. When you walk in here, you'll see a bunch of huge lecture halls, there's study areas, and then over here there's a cafe, and then in the basement there's more lecture halls, more study areas, and another cafe, and then on the top floor it's pretty much just lecture halls. And then we also have chemistry labs in this building, so if you're going to be taking chemistry or any of the general chemistry labs are in this building as well. So there's just a lot of really great areas in here. We also have something called study room or huddle rooms in here. So you can basically rent for free a study room for you and your friends. They're really huge. There's like 12 seats at a table. And that's something that I know my friends and I like to do during finals. And that's a really great thing inside this building. And I mentioned a lot about the lecture halls, and I think when you think of a Big Ten school like UMD, you probably are imagining having all these classes and huge lecture halls, hundreds and hundreds of kids. But that's actually really, from my experience, it has been really far from that. We actually have 66% of our classes are 30 students or less, and 37% are 20 students or less. So only about 10% are over 100 students. So most of the classes you'll be having are really similar to those of the ones that you had in high school. And I know for those large lecture halls that are over 100 students, the professors are required to have TAs or teaching assistants, which are typically graduate students who just basically, I'll just give an example right now of the math class I'm in. I have lecture Monday, Wednesday, Friday for 50 minutes, and that's with the professor, and the professor teaches all the material. And then on Tuesday and Thursday, the teaching assistant holds a mandatory discussion. And the TA doesn't teach any new material, but the TA just goes over what the professor already taught you. So if you're not really comfortable answering a question in a large lecture hall to your professor, you can ask it to your TA there. And then all TAs and professors are required to hold office hours, so that's another way to get a hold and if you're confused about a concept or anything. So I haven't really found the big lecture halls to be an issue, even though a lot of my high school classes were that smaller size. But does anyone have any questions about the class size? I know that's a big thing about coming to such a big school. If anyone has questions. And then just another thing about class size, when you're in like 100 level, like in your freshman year, like right now I'm a freshman, a lot of your classes will be larger. Like I'm in a math class that a lot of like majors have to take. I'm in an intro biology class. I'm in a chemistry lecture. All those things are very large lecture halls because it's required to be taken by so many majors, and they're 100 level classes. So all of those do have TAs, do have professors. So there are a lot of resources. But then I also have a Spanish class that's a 300 level class, and that class is about 15 students. So as you work your way up, it's gonna get a lot smaller and smaller.
Can you gauge, like, for each class, what the, like, class size might be?
I know, like, I can give you, like, examples of classes I've taken. Like, last semester I took Calc 1, and that's, like, a class that, like, a lot of different majors have to take, and it was maybe, like, 150, 200 kids in the lecture. But then I had my lecture Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but then Tuesday and Thursday, I would have my discussion section with my teaching assistant, and that was only, like, 20 students. So it honestly feels like a smaller class when you have your discussion sections and stuff. So the lectures, nobody, I mean, you can ask questions during it, but that's just to kind of learn the material and not practice it. Okay, if no one has any questions, we can move to our next stop.
The language building.
This is the language building.
And this is also a library, guys. McKeldin Library.
Oh yeah, this is our like main library on campus.
Right. So there was the Hornbeck over there, and then there's this McKeldin.
LinkedIn mom.
Uh-huh.
Like I think in high school I just tried to do like as much as I could. I don't know. If you have good grades, you guys are coming in with a lot of credits, which is also good.
Yeah.
See that, so. Okay, that's good.
And this year is no SAT, right? Like,
Process of being placed into a resident hall, like I mentioned earlier. It's pretty much based on programs you're accepted into. There's a lot of living and learning programs here, different honors programs have different buildings, and there's also things like Civicus or other living learning programs. That's kind of the first priority when they're placing people in housing. And then after that, it's pretty much random. If you're gonna get a double, if you're gonna get a triple, if you're gonna get a quad. So that's one thing to know. I think for me personally, I was kind of expecting to come here and you can choose your roommate and everything, but you get a form and it'll tell you have to put in your information, like your living preferences, how many guests you want to have over, like what time do you go to bed, what type of roommate are you. And so if you do decide to not pick a roommate, they'll pair you based on that. And then you'll get, in the middle of July-ish, they give you your room assignment. So it'll tell you where you're gonna live, what type of hall style it is, and just stuff like that. So I know for me, I was placed into a quad, which is me living with 3 other girls and 2 bunk beds. And I was planning to, in my head, I was gonna be in a double. And so when I received this, I was definitely really bummed out. I was planning to apply for reassignment like 2 weeks into the semester, but it actually ended up turning out fine. By the time the reassignment date turned around, it ended up being completely fine. And so I think that's just say, like, if you are placed into a triple or quad, definitely try it out before getting super upset about it. You'll meet new people, and I think that's just a big thing about freshman year is meeting new people. So does anyone have any questions about the process of getting your rooming assignment?
Are there enough rooms for the many students that need rooms, and what happens if there isn't?
I know for freshmen, housing is guaranteed.
It's guaranteed for freshmen.
For
Okay.
freshmen, yeah.
Does Freshman Connection get different housing assignments?
I do not think so. I think if you fill out the living agreement, it's not a different assignment. One of my roommates, of my 3 roommates, was in Freshman Connection. A lot of people in my hall too. So.
What is Freshman Connection?
We basically have a program where you can. I'm not exactly sure.
He got accepted for spring, not fall, but he can still go to fall, but he just has to take night classes.
Okay. Yeah, so like my roommate, she was still taking the same amount of credits as I was. Like, it was basically
But
the
you
same
have a
thing.
different start date.
It's
You
just
cannot
really
take the major courses, so you have a selection of courses you can take instead of just taking whatever you
Yeah,
want.
you can't
So if
take
you're
anything
major-
within your applied major until, I guess you've proven yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, you take the same amount of credits. It's pretty. Yeah, it's only. I know she would just have classes after 3 p.m.
Yeah.
And honestly, I had all 8 a.m.s, and I kind of like I wish I had her schedule anyway. So it's like it's kind of a good
Tiptoe
adjustment.
around, let her sleep while
Yeah.
you get ready.
Yeah, see, that's another thing, right? You
Yeah.
need to consider each other's schedule.
Yeah, you get to sleep in Freshman Connection, which is nice, I guess. But sorry, getting off topic, but when you go inside of each residence hall, we basically have a 3-barrier safety system. I know it's a huge campus and safety is a really big concern because there are so many students to account for. But basically to get into every building, you can see there that like swipe card place. You basically need to take your ID card, which you'll get at orientation, you swipe it, and you go in. And on the first floor of every residence hall, we have a CA, which is a community assistant. And there's a front desk that's manned 24/7, so they're making sure that no one unwanted, people that are not students or accompanied by a student are coming into buildings. It's just kind of a first step to make sure that people coming in and out of the buildings are supposed to be there. And then you also need your ID card to either swipe into the stairs to get up onto your specific floor or to swipe into the elevator. So then when you get to your specific floor, you'll have a resident assistant that's assigned to you and another group of residents. And your resident assistant is basically just there to help you transition to college life. I know for me personally, my RA, she plans a lot of really great floor events so you can meet people on your floor. They have monthly events. She also helped me learn how to use the transit app, which is how we get around here with public transportation. So you can basically ask your RA for anything. Next year I'll be an RA and we have to go through a lot of training. We have to like learn how to interact with residents. You can pretty much go to them with any problem you have. If you just want to rant about your roommate problems, anything like that, you can go to them and talk to them about it. And then when you get to your room, you'll have your own specific room key. Only you, your roommates, and a spare key at the front desk will have that specific room key. And that's how you get in and out. Inside your room, you'll have pretty much what you expect: a closet space, bed, desk, chair, dresser, pretty much everything in there. And you can put up basically anything you want in your room. I know I have like 50 different command hooks up in my room with things being hung up. You can put basically anything. Our only condition is if it glows, it goes. So we can't have microwaves or air fryers or candle or any open flame of anything. And personally, I have not found this to be an issue because at least in every single residence hall, we have a full kitchen with a stove, an oven, sink, everything like that. And in my specific building, which is really similar to a lot of the freshman residence halls, every single floor has a partial kitchen with a large fridge and a sink, just like a place to like wash your dishes. So that's just a little bit about residence halls. If you guys have any questions about like what you can and can't have inside of them, I know that's a big question.
Residence halls, when you're assigned, like, how do you know which ones are the ones with or without AC?
When you get your assignment, it's on this, it's on an online thing. And one of my friends, he goes here, he does not have AC, and his said, I think it said it on there like no AC or something when he got assigned to it. But most of the freshman residence halls do have AC in them. There's just a small few that still haven't been updated with that. And I know for him personally, I know it's a big question about not having AC. If you have any special like health conditions like asthma or something like that, I know you can like submit that and they will put you somewhere with AC. And then also the time period where it affects like your living situation, like by the time reassignment comes around, for like personal reasons that you're allowed to do reassignment, usually the time period has passed where the heat really is affecting you anyway, for most students. But the lounges do have AC, so people can go to the lounges. I guess one way to look at it is a lot of people can meet people in the lounges because everyone goes there in the summer and at the end of the school year. But. Okay, we can move to our next stop then. The traditional style with the communal bathroom and individual rooms. Most of these down here are suite style, so it's older kids that live here. This is one of our dining halls. I've actually been here like 2 times, but yeah, I go to there's 2 on North Campus, so I go to those.
So, like, if you dorm here, you have to eat at the dining
No,
halls?
you can, if you live here in your first year, you're required to get one of the dining plans.
Oh,
If you live in one of the apartment styles that has a kitchen, you can get, you're not required to.
Oh.
But if you live off campus, you're not required to.
oh, okay.
South Campus Dining Hall. And this is one of 3 dining halls that we have here on campus. We have 2 on North Campus that are really close to the freshman residence halls, and then we also have this one here on South Campus. And the reason why we only have 1 on South Campus is because over on this side we have a lot of apartment style living and suite style living, and we just have more underclassmen that live on the North Campus side, so there's a lot more students who are going to, or that are needing to go to the dining hall because they can't make their own food. But yeah, so this dining hall and over on North Campus we have Yahentamizzi Dining Hall, and we also have 251 North. And Yahentamizzi and South Campus Dining Hall are open from 8 a.m. or 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. And then 251 North is open from let me say this again. The South Campus and Yahentamizzi are open from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. And then 251 North is open from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. So they're definitely open a lot of times where you can eat, and especially as freshmen where you're most likely going to be placed on North Campus, you can go as early as 7 a.m. at Yahentamizzi to as late as 10 p.m. at 251. And with the dining halls, you can go in like at 9:55. They just stop making and putting out new food at 10 p.m. They let you stay there an extra like 15, 20, 30 minutes before they actually kick you out, and they'll just come up to your table and tell you that you need to leave after like 20-ish minutes. And then a little bit about dining plans. As I was saying, I think I said to someone else, if you're a freshman living on campus, you are required to have a dining plan. And our dining plan minimum is just unlimited meal swipes with no dining dollars and no guest passes. And then as you move up, you don't get more swipes because everyone has unlimited swipes. You just get more guest passes and more dining dollars. And dining dollars this isn't the exact number, but it's less than $1 to $1. So say you spend $300 on dining dollars, that might equate to around like 400 dining dollars. So like 300 real dollars is equal to like 400 dining dollars, about, not the exact number, but yeah, around 75 cents to $1. And those dining dollars can be used at a lot of the things inside of the Stamp Student Union. If any of you guys were out, if any of you guys went into Stamp Student Union, it can be used at things like Chick-fil-A, Qdoba, Union Pizza, Salad Works, all those places you can use your dining dollars at. And then a little bit about dining. I said we had unlimited swipes, and that means you can go you can go in for some water on your way to class. You can, and then 20 minutes later you can go in for breakfast. You can go in for lunch. One of my friends lives right next to one of the dining halls, and every time I go to her residence hall, I always stop into the dining hall and just grab a cookie. You can use as many swipes a day, whatever time you want. And I think that's really awesome because at the beginning of your freshman year, you can meet a lot of people at the in the dining halls. So I know for me and my roommate, we would go in and there would be someone sitting alone. We just ask if we can sit with them, and you make a new friend. And that's something really cool, and I'm glad that we have the unlimited swipes because it definitely helps you meet new people and to make sure that nobody's really going hungry or rationing swipes or running out by the end of the week or something like that. That's just a little bit about our food options. Inside of our dining halls, not this one specifically, but the one that I'm thinking of, Yahentemitsi, that one has a different sandwich bar, and they have 3 specialty sandwiches every day. There's East Asian food, South Asian food, Latin American food, Italian food like pizzas, pastas. There's a gluten-free section, there is a vegan section, then there's like classic American food. So there's just so many different options. Every single day, it's like the same general thing in the areas, but they switch up what they have every single day. I'm a really picky eater. I just got chicken tenders for lunch. Like, I'll go to a nice restaurant and still get something like chicken tenders, but I've never had a problem finding good food here or food that I like. I've never been super disappointed that I have to go to the dining hall for dinner instead of eating out or something like that. So if anyone has any questions about dining, I'm happy to answer them. Okay, we can move to our next stop.
Yeah, I think these are dorms.
Okay, so right now we're standing in the middle of Washington Quad. And all of these buildings around the edges are places where students live. Typically upperclassmen live around these areas. Or I guess not even upperclassmen, just a lot of sophomores live here because these are suite styles. I know a lot of people will go for an off-campus apartment or on-campus apartment for their junior and senior year, but a lot of people do opt for the suite style for their sophomore year. So yeah, I have friends like living in like basically or like 2 or 3 of the buildings around here next year. And the suite style is where you share a bathroom or share a common space, but you have like your individual rooms. And you don't have a kitchen or anything, but you still have like kind of your own space and your own living space instead of like a shared lounge like you will your freshman year. And then at this stop, we're talking a little bit about athletics. And a little bit about athletics here. We have 3 levels of sports. So the top one is the D1 level, which is, I'm sure if you guys are planning to play here at the D1 level, you'd probably know by now. But for all the rest of us, we have the club level and the intramural level. And the club level is basically the same as what you are used to in high school, from a high school varsity sport, where you have practice this many days a week. It's only during the specific season where you're playing against other teams. You still travel around to different schools, you play in tournaments, you can make it to like nationals for club level, which is really cool. And if you're someone who's really used to playing sports or going to sports games every so often, or not going to sports games, if you're someone who's used to playing a sport and you don't want to lose that, but you're not ready for the time commitment of the D1 level, the club level is definitely a good place to start. And then we also have the intramural level, which is even a step of time commitment below the club level. And the intramural level, you're playing against other people from the University of Maryland. So for, like, let's say intramural soccer, you're playing against other small teams that other people have made from the university. You're not traveling around to different schools or anything, but for intramural, it's still competitive. There's still tournaments. You can still win a t-shirt as a prize, but it's just not as big of a time commitment. Just a little bit about like the time commitment. I know someone who's a senior right now, and he's doing like 4 different intramural sports at the same time, also on top of classes. So definitely really easy to juggle a lot of intramural sports here. And then a little bit about the sports games and getting into sporting events. One really nice thing that I love is that all of our sporting events are free here for students. And then basically all you need to do, except for football and basketball, all you need to do is show your ID to get in. Like my parents and my family, they really like lacrosse, so they've come down for lacrosse games. They buy their own tickets, and all I need to do is show my ID card, and I can just go in and sit with them completely for free. And then for football and basketball, we have a lottery system. So basically what will happen is a few days before the football game or the basketball game, you'll get an email like, oh, there's a sporting event this weekend, and you can click a link to, or you can click it to claim your ticket. And you'll basically be put into a system where they'll take how many loyalty points you have, and the people with the most loyalty points are more likely to get the tickets. So this isn't really a big deal for the first few, or this isn't really a big deal for like the first few games of the season. I'll just give an example. For me personally, I only went to like 2 or 3 games, like football games, and then we have these high capacity events or high capacity games where we're playing rivals and things where more students want to get tickets. Those are the only games where you really need to worry about getting a ticket or not. And as someone who barely went to any of the games, I went and I requested a ticket, and I was able to get a game even to the high capacity ones. The only time you have to really worry is if you're only requesting tickets to those high capacity games. But if you're someone who's going to a lot of the games, I definitely would not worry about getting a ticket or not. But that's a little bit about athletics. I know I said a lot of information, so if you have any questions, I can try to answer.
You mentioned the loyalty point system. How
Yep.
does that work?
So for the loyalty points, it's basically like you'll get a ticket and it'll have a QR code on it. Once you claim your ticket, they'll send you a few days later your ticket with a barcode. And the more barcodes that of yours, they're linked to your the barcodes are linked to your student account or whatever system they use. And so when they scan your ticket, you get loyalty points to your name or your account or whatever they use. So it's basically like the more games you go to, the more tickets you claim and actually go to the game and get your ticket scanned, the more likely, or the more loyalty points you have. And then the more loyalty points you have, the more likely you are to get a ticket for the high capacity games. But yeah, if you go to a lot of the games, you'll probably be fine, even for the big ones. So, okay, we can move to our next step. I know South Campus is a lot prettier than North Campus.
Yeah. South Campus is where the business school is? Or-
Yeah, the
oh,
business
okay.
school is 5 minutes that way, like walking that way.
Okay. And North Campus is where the computer is.
Yeah, that's
Computer
really
science.
cool.
Okay, opposite ends.
But if you guys, like, I don't know, did you guys plan to, are you guys eating here or did you already eat?
Not yet.
If you guys go to one of the dining halls, I would recommend the one that's on North Campus.
Ah.
I think today, I don't know if they're doing a special event for how much the dining costs today, but if you're interested in looking, I think the food is pretty good here.
Oh, okay.
Pennsylvania schools like the ones in Philly are 2 hours away from me. Clemson's like 2 hours or an hour and a half, like the same as here. And then Pittsburgh's like 4 hours. So it's also the closest to home. I have family in the state, so I can know this. So right now we're standing in front of the Memorial Chapel, and the Memorial Chapel is actually a multi-faith chapel that belongs to, I think, over 12 different religious denominations and different like religions, which is really cool. So a lot of people from different religions practice in here. We have, there's a schedule that you can follow. I know a lot of people who go to church, but they go at different times to go to whatever denomination they are, which is really awesome. And we have a lot of really cool things here that help you support your diverse backgrounds, just like this multi-faith chapel. So on top of the multi-faith chapel, we also have things like the ADS accommodations office, which is in the Shoemaker building. And the ADS accommodations basically can help you get extra time on tests. and they can, I think, arrange counseling services for you, which is really awesome. So ADS Services helps people, and then we also have the Nimburu Cultural Center. So if any of you guys had a chance to go to Stamp Student Union, right next to Stamp is the Nimburu Cultural Center. And Nimburu means Freedom House in Swahili, and it's basically just a place to promote an appreciation and understanding of African American culture here on campus. One thing about our campus is that diversity is super, super important. So we need 120 credits to graduate, and 40 of those credits are Gen Eds. And part of those 40 credits are a diversity and cultural competency requirement. And a lot of those DVCCs, as we call them, which are diversity and cultural competency requirements, are taken in Nimburu Cultural Center. So we have things like the history of jazz, blues as a cultural art form, just a lot of different classes that help you learn about other cultures other than your own, which is really cool. So any questions about those services? Okay, and then just speaking a little bit about diversity in general, I think I had mentioned this to someone earlier, but on your application, they always have a question about diversity, like what does diversity mean to you? And I would definitely recommend putting a lot of thought into that question specifically, because diversity is such a big part of our campus. Over 50% of students here are students of color, and we also have over 10% of students are international students coming from 115 different countries. So we have 4,250 international students, as well as so many people of color here. And I came from a high school that was predominantly white, about 80%, or so less than 20% students of color. And coming to this school has been really, really nice because you're able to meet some people from so many different backgrounds. And no matter what field you're going into, if you're going into something like government especially, but even in science when you're doing research, it's really important to have people from different backgrounds because everyone has a different perspective and everyone's different upbringing, culture, everything helps influence these. And if you're only with people who have the same exact upbringing as you or the same exact background as you, it's really hard to make these big breakthroughs and make really big change, or make any really big improvements to the world. So that's something I've appreciated about coming here. If anyone has any questions about diversity, I'm happy to answer them. Okay, we can move to our next stop.
What is that big building right there?
That is the one with all the glass.
Yeah.
That's the public policy building.
Oh.
I'm not exactly sure. I know it's like an academic building of some sort. We have so many buildings here, and
Right.
so I'm not exactly sure that one, but
I think, if I'm not wrong, that might have been where we scheduled.
oh really?
Yeah, did all our scheduling. So I guess they don't use it much anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So right now we're standing in front of the Thurgood Marshall Public Policy Building. And this building is actually named after Thurgood Marshall, who was originally denied admission to this university because of the color of his skin. And then he later sued on behalf of Hiram Whittle, who we have another building named after him, after Hiram Whittle, and was eventually granted admission, was able to help Hiram Whittle get admission to the university. So Thurgood Marshall was a really big part of our campus's past, so we definitely appreciate everything he did and for the path that he led for everyone else who came here. So that's something really awesome, and so that's why we have the Public Policy Building named after him. And then very fittingly, we also have something called the Do Good Institute inside of this building. From the front you can see, but we have this huge big Do Good sign, and University of Maryland is the first Do Good university in America. And the Do Good Institute is basically a way for the university to put funds and funding into student-led initiatives that help create positive social change. So if you're a student who has a great idea to make positive social change here on campus, or even extend a little bit beyond our campus, you can take it to the Do Good Institute and maybe try to get funding for your project. One really great thing that we've done here is we had a project that was led by a tour guide a couple years ago called Get Over It. And it was a way ovary, like female ovaries.
Oh, okay.
And they basically gave her $10,000 to start putting menstrual products in bathrooms all around campus. So in a lot of the gender neutral bathrooms, as well as I think women's bathrooms, they have like menstrual products that are free. And so they basically just are addressing the problem of period poverty that's going around, so people don't have to worry about like having access to these hygiene products here on campus. And then ever since then, the university has continued to fund this project past that. So that's just one example of how just a student initiative is helping to change the lives of so many people every day. And then a little bit about admissions. We're also going to talk about admissions here. We currently use the standout application and the common application, so you can apply through either of those. And how we have it is we have the early action deadline on November 1st, and then we also have the regular decision deadline on January 20th. And those are the dates that you need to apply by to be considered for either early action or regular decision. And I would note, if you're deciding between the two, applying between either, early action is non-binding, so even if you're accepted through early action, you are not required to come here. But we do accept most of the freshman class every year from early action, so it's really important to try to get it in before that November 1st deadline. And then that deadline, if you apply before, you're also considered for merit-based scholarships, so you'll be considered for a lot of like merit-based aid. You're also considered for living and learning programs, such as like our honors programs, our scholars programs, which is really awesome. And yeah, if you're seriously considering coming to the University of Maryland, definitely recommend applying before November 1st for the early action deadline.
For the merit-based scholarships, do we need to apply through the app, the financial aid thing?
They automatically consider everyone who applies before them for the merit-based scholarships.
Okay, so you don't need the financial aid thing, right?
Yeah, you
okay.
can just, as long as you apply before that date, you're considered.
Just apply the school, yeah. Okay,
And
thank
then how do
you.
you find out more about the honors programs or the certain programs that you talked about?
I
Are they
think
just programs online you find out through the programs you're interested in?
I think they just like not randomly, but
They
they'll
would
like
choose
select
you?
you. Yeah.
Oh, I see. It's not something you apply for.
Yeah. Oh, I know so basically I think for honors and scholars you'll get on your application letter like you've been accepted to the honors college, and then there's a lot of different honors colleges, and how it works is you like rank them, or you rank like your top 2 or top 3 or something, and then they'll place you in one of those. Because we have a lot of different honors programs. We have just like the general university honors, which I think has like the largest number of students. But then we also have specialty ones like integrated life sciences, and then we have like cybersecurity one, and those are just like other programs that I guess are like less students are in those. Okay, if nobody has any other questions about admissions, I know I was talking about it earlier with someone, but I'm just going to give my why I decided to come to UMD. I said I'm from Pennsylvania, but I decided to apply to Maryland because I grew up supporting Maryland athletics. My dad grew up in Maryland, so I just decided to apply here, and I applied before the early action deadline, so I was able to receive some merit-based aid that made the price similar to that of like some other Pennsylvania schools that I was considering, or other schools that were out of state that didn't offer merit-based aid. And I just decided to come here because it's also very close to home for me. It's the closest school out of all the schools I applied to, even though I'm from Pennsylvania. So that's just kind of why I decided to come here. And I know there was like a lot of pressure between like choosing a school based on rank or other things like that. But since coming here, I've never felt like once that I have less opportunities than someone would at a different school that I could have chosen. I feel like there's so many different opportunities here. We have so many different career and internship fairs from so many different fields. I know I'm on the arts and humanities and the science like mailing list. There are specific internship and career fairs for the arts and humanities. There's ones for different areas of science. I know there's ones for just like computer science. There's one for health sciences. There's just so many different ways to find these resources. And your tuition is ultimately like paying the salaries of the people who are finding these like resources and stuff. So I just like use up your money and go to them because you're already paying for them. Yeah, that's just my piece of advice, because a lot of people don't or like decide not to go to these career and internship fairs, but they definitely have a lot. Yeah, so I basically, like I said before, I'm pre-dental. I'm like double majoring in Spanish and biochemistry, and I was able to go to a career and internship fair and get a dental internship in an area where they speak predominantly Spanish. So it's like very, very specific to what I'm interested in. Because we are such a big school compared to small schools, we're able to get so many different like organizations to come to these career and internship fairs because they can recruit from such like a wide population. And yeah, I was able to find it. I remember I went into the career and internship fair kind of thinking nothing of it. Even as a freshman, I was just not really expecting much of it, but I was able to find something. And I think just definitely like don't underestimate like the like power of these like resources.
When is the career and internship fair?
They have them towards the middle of every single semester. Like the one that I had gone to in the fall was in October, I think. Like the beginning of October, and then we just had them recently, I think in February or March. So they just do the middle-ish of every semester.
So you were able basically got that internship 2-3 months after you got admitted.
Yeah.
That's very impressive.
Yeah.
You basically like on your resume for when you're, I guess this is in the future for some of you, but on your resume when you go to college, like your first semester, like you can keep some like small stuff from high school. Just like as you build stuff in college, you can take it off and put the things that you have done in college. But yeah, you can like put like some stuff from high school, just like show them like what you've done in the past. And yeah. I know, and there's different fields that are more competitive to get internships in, so it's not like the same experience for everyone. I know for computer science, it's a lot more competitive than it is for like dental, but yeah.
Can you tell us like
So for being a tour guide, we basically have applications at the beginning of every semester, and then we go through an application process with a few rounds, and then you go through training that same semester if you're accepted. And so, like, I did my training last semester to get it this semester.
So is this a paid position or?
It wasn't when it wasn't last semester and it's not this semester, but we like had an agreement with the university towards the middle so that next semester it will be paid.
can you tell us what activities you did in high school?
In high school, I was involved with just like a few little just like a random things. I just tried to do as much as I could to try to get in. I was like part of student council, and then my senior year I was the president of student council, and I was also president of like Spanish club, and then just like random like honor societies and things, just like ran for like positions. I just like try to run for things if there are positions available. But,
The Greek plot, the Greek.
yeah, I think that's like fraternity row over there. And then I think, I don't want to say the name wrong, but like graham cracker row, something like that, is like where all the sorority houses are, and those are like right next to it.
Or gingerbread.
Gingerbread, some type of thing, yeah.
Are those Panhellenic or national?
I'm not sure. I know it's like PHA, something. But yeah, two of my roommates are in Greek life, so I know a little bit about it if anyone has any questions. Okay, if you guys want to like, get back to where we started, if you walk this way, it'll lead right to the mall. And if you have like a specific area you want to go to, I can point you in that direction too. But right now we're at the very like north. We're in like the east end of campus. So yeah.
Thank you.